So we talked about subject pronouns 2 days ago, and we've been working on those. And now we're going to use those subject pronouns. So a subject pronoun is the subject of a sentence. It starts a sentence. And we learn those so we can learn how to conjugate and create verbs. So today we're going to learn how to conjugate, an important word. We're going to learn how to conjugate AR verbs. So remember, we learned that we have 3 kinds of infinitives, right? We have AR, ER, and IR verbs. All verbs fit into one of these 3 categories. Well, today we're going to learn how to conjugate AR verbs, which means we're going to learn how to take a verb, for example, hablar, which means to talk. We're going to take that verb hablar, and instead of saying me gusta hablar, I like to talk, now we're going to learn how to say I talk to my friends, or you talk in class, or something like that. We're going to learn how to conjugate. We're going to learn now how to take hablar from to talk to I talk and you talk, and he or she talks, and we talk, and you all talk, and they talk. So we are going to use, again, here is the subject pronouns verb chart, or the subject pronouns chart. And we saw that yesterday, we saw it the day before, we talked about it. And we're going to use that chart to conjugate these AR verbs. Now, for example, we're going to use this verb hablar to learn how to conjugate AR verbs. Now, verbs in English are a little bit different than in Spanish because we just say I talk, you talk, he talks. But in Spanish, we take this verb, we get rid of this AR, and then the endings, we put on new endings based on the subject pronoun that tells you who is doing the talking. Okay? So, you can do this with any regular AR verb, like cantar and bailar, but right now we're going to talk about hablar. Okay? So the first thing you do right here is number 1. You're going to create the AR verb form, you're going to drop off the AR from the infinitive. So you're going to have hablar, and you're going to take off this AR, and then you're going to just be left with HABL. So all of your forms are going to start with HABL. And then you just add the endings. And this is where you have to do a little bit of memorizing, but it's pretty easy. You have 6 endings, just like you have 6 categories right here. Remember, yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Now, the endings match with the subject. So, o is the yo ending. As, ellas is the tú ending. A is the él, ella, usted ending. Now, this is why we have usted down here, because we need to be able to differentiate in the verb if we're talking to you informal or you formal. Then we have hablamos, A-M-O-S, for nosotros, ais with an accent over the A, in vosotros, and A-N for ellos, ellas, ustedes. So the endings, your verb endings, you add the verb ending based on what your subject pronoun is. O, as, a, amos, ais, or an. So, you can see here, this chart right here is so important. This chart right here, if you can learn how to do this chart, you'll be able to do anything. So, once you have conjugated a verb, for example, if I write the word yo, you know that the verb is going to be hablo, because yo is the subject pronoun that corresponds with the ending o. In Spanish, the present tense of the form can be translated in English in 2 ways. You can either be saying, I speak Spanish, or I am speaking Spanish. Either way, you're talking about doing something right now in the present. I speak Spanish, or I'm speaking Spanish. The verb endings always indicate who is doing the action. Remember we talked about yesterday, the subject pronoun tells you who is doing the verb. Well, now you can also know that by the verb ending. So if I just write this word hablo, H-A-B-L-O, you know that the subject pronoun or the person that's doing the talking is yo. You already know that because o goes with yo. It can't go with anything else. So if I say hablo inglés, you know that I'm saying I speak English. If you write hablas español, You're saying do you speak Spanish? AS. You know that you, informal, is the person that you're talking to because AS is the ending. Subject pronouns can be used for emphasis or for clarification, so that really the only time that it's absolutely 100% necessary to have a subject pronoun is when you're in the third person down here. So when you're using the el, ella, or usted, and then ellos, ellas, or ustedes, because those can have different options. So if, for example, right here in this, if I just wrote habla inglés pero habla español, you have no idea who is the one doing the talking. That's why you need the subject pronoun. But if I wrote hablo inglés pero hablas español, you know that hablo is yo and hablas is tú because those correspond with the subject pronoun. So you have a new little chart to remember. Your AR verb chart endings are o, as, a, amos, ais, and an. And those can go with a number of verbs. We just talked about the fact that it can go with hablar. So we know how to conjugate hablar. We know how to say I talk, you talk, he or she talks, we talk, you all talk, and they talk. We also can do this with montar, to ride. We also can do this with cantar and bailar and dibujar. Sorry, I spelled that wrong. Dibujar, and so on and so forth. Any AR verbs that we know so far, we can conjugate now because we know the AR verb endings. So, for example, if you wanted to talk about I ride, you're going to take o, as, a, amos, ais, and an, and attach that to montar. So you're going to get rid of the AR, and you're going to write monto, montas, monta, montamos, montais, and montan. It's very easy, you see? Another verb you can use this with is estudiar, which means to study. And so for your homework tonight, I just want you to do this exercise right here, 14. And you're going to use this verb, estudiar, to answer those questions. So look at the pictures and tell what each of these people are studying. So you know Laura, is studying math. So your sentence is going to say, Laura studies math. The model up here may help you. The model up here will help you because you're going to conjugate estudiar. Remember, when you're conjugating, you have to find the subject pronoun and then match it with the box that fits the ending. So, Laura could be ella, and ella would go down here in this box. So your sentence would be, Laura estudia matemáticas. So do the rest of those 6 for tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow in class. Have a good night.